looks like a giant pool / kind of like water fountain filled with what maybe if you didn't see the article title, you'd be like, oh, these ladies are all like wrestling in a bunch of milk. But no, it's semen. So it's just like an ocean of semen and an ocean of women all like fighting each other to get buckets of it. And it's
He walked out in the gray light and stood, and he saw for a brief moment the absolute truth of the world. The cold, relentless circling of the intestate earth. Darkness implacable. The blind dogs of the sun in their running. The crushing black vacuum of the universe. And somewhere 200 animals trembling like ground foxes in their cover. Borrowed time and borrowed world and borrowed eyes with which to sorrow it.
And lo, for the earth was empty of form, and void, and darkness was all over the face of the deep, and we said, look at that fucker dance.
Welcome to Heat Death of the Universe, a podcast with a freshly installed Neuralink device, formerly known as a Twitter-funded brain destroyer. It is 12:23 p.m. Saturday afternoon here in Seoul, South Korea, February 3rd, year of our Lord 2024. Through the witchcraft of living on a spherical planet, it's a whole other time and date where Timothy, more Oliphant, less Leary, Buckner resides. You're getting big compliments today, buddy.
I like it.
Tim, catch this mic I just dropped so righteously and tell us what's up. How you doing?
I'm doing good. You know why I'm in an extra happy mood this week is that I got my first chance to listen to one of my favorite podcasts in a long time. You know what podcast that is?
I cannot guess.
Heat Death of the Universe. I was able to listen to it last week because it was back to the original, the classic Kenyo, Joss and Jason. Joss. And Jason formulation, so I actually listened to it. I was happy to have an episode of your podcast to listen to. So happy to listen to Heat Death of the Universe. And I was happy that I was gone, and you guys brought up Vince McMahon and all of that disgustingness, so that we don't talk about it. Because I don't even talk about that shit on my show, my wrestling show. Because it's gross. I don't like talking about it. So
I don't remember talking about that. I have it on the list for today still.
It came up real quick. I did see it on the list. And
Okay.
if we really have to, we can mention it.
No,
it
we
did
do
come
not.
up.
We do not have to. Yeah.
No,
Okay.
it's fine. But yeah, I'm like, it is. It's some of the worst shit imaginable. Anyways, otherwise, I'm doing great.
I'm doing great. Tom Likas, he's back.
Yeah. Blow me up, Tom. Papa Tom. Yeah. Oh man, that guy.
I might have to just go back and listen to those James Adomian, Tom Likas impersonations.
Yeah.
Those are fucking great.
We've definitely talked about this before. I'm like, did you even ever listen to real Tom Likas, or do you only know him from Adomian?
I only know him from Adomian.
That's crazy to me.
After getting learning about him through Adomian, I think I listened to a little bit here and there, but I was just kind of like, I'd rather listen to the fucking the fake one.
I get you. It's easier. It's nicer. It's cleaner. You know?
I don't know if Lycus was on in the like Chicago-ish region.
No.
Yeah.
No, he's just SoCal. He's really only SoCal. Like,
yeah,
that's what made the
reason
Adomian
I don't
thing
know.
so good. Yeah, that's what made the Adomian thing so good, is it's like, it's this regional thing that, like, no one else should even know about.
Just
but
like the Huell-Hauser thing, too, exactly.
Yes, exactly. It's like,
I had never heard
does this really good parody. Yeah.
I'd never heard of him either until, Adomian. Where the fuck's Adomian, Ben?
That's
He must be doing something.
Yeah. James Adomian's a weird guy, man. You know what? A lot of times I would get him, a long time ago, I would get him confused with, no, I can't think of his name. The Jaddy. He was another Bang Bang guy, and now he's a really bad...
The guy who's a big fucking...
disgusting...
Mr. Hasbara, yeah. Brett Gelman. Oh, man. Adomian's way better.
Adomian has always been better. That's not fair. That's honestly not fair. Right now, he's definitely better, but they were both comedy Bang Bang guys. They both...
I liked Brett Gelman, too. But
impressions.
I've always
preferred... But he did characters. Yeah. And I would just mix them up because their names are kind of similar. Yeah. That. Oh man, that's such a good one. But yeah, I would mix them up just because their names are similar. Their names are not. They like have
Adomian Gelman. Yeah. Okay.
James Adomian and Brett Gelman just sound like they could be the same guy. Like those. It just. Again, it's not like there's nothing about it that really makes sense. It doesn't rhyme. It's not similar, like, oh, it sounds like it comes from the same region, but there's just like I don't know how to put it.
I mean, I get like
jouissance.
all the other associations, yeah. Like, I mean, for me personally, like they're incredibly distinct. Right. I would never mix them up, but yeah.
Sure. But it was just like, when it's just voices and names, you know what I mean? And you're just like, it's like, I just listen to podcasts and this person has this name, this person has this name, and it's like kind of, and for a while, and they kind of look the same because they have like, they're just like a beardy white guy, ethnic white guy with a beard and short hair.
Adomian does the whole like because he also does like a great Vincent Price and he's got the mustache to go with it. He's always had the like,
sometimes
kind of like pencil-y mustache. But anyway,
that's true. Anyway.
What do we talk about on this podcast? I mean, I could just
talk about comedy Bang Bang.
I could reminisce about Adomian for a long time, like his Dove Charney impersonation. Like
my fucking god, that was so good.
That's actually what got me into comedy Bang Bang, basically, was here, like, and I didn't know any, like, who Adomian was. I was like, whoever the fuck is doing this Dove Charney impression is blowing my mind, and I want to hear everything they ever have to do ever again. And I've always been a huge Adomian stan. I don't think he gets enough credit, like, ultimately, and you know how he just like kind of gave the big fucking middle finger to the whole like LA comedy podcast world, essentially. He doesn't do podcasts anymore because another reason I like him is he's an actual fucking leftist amongst what are like mostly just fucking
snakes in the grass,
limousine liberals.
Yeah. No.
But he's like, I should be compensated for my labor, right? So like he's like, I'm not going to just keep doing like fucking charity for comedy Bang Bang, which like rakes in like millions of dollars or whatever. So anyway,
yeah, and especially him, who me and you both. It's like he was like a big building block of our fandom of the fucking thing.
Yeah.
So he should definitely be getting paid for what he's doing. He's not fucking exposure. At this point, it's not exposure. Like everyone, but. Dove Charney is another one. Like, it's so funny how the biggest things that you like think of him doing are like LA regional specific impressions that again should not hit as hard as they do nationally to people who are not from Southern California, but they do. They work for everyone, but like because he makes it relatable and you understand why it's funny. You get to see through him why it's funny for us to, have to deal with these weirdos in our day-to-day life in Los Angeles, So, like, yeah, he's really A very special talent. I think you're right that doesn't get the credit he deserves.
He's fucking amazing. Jesse Ventura, Gary Busey fucking boggles the mind. How good his Gary Busey is when he just starts doing all those acronyms out of nowhere. He's like, I can't even do one because I don't have that fucking talent. He'll just like say a word and then rattle it off as a fucking insane, like Gary Busey, moment of Zenism type thing. Holy fuck, we've been talking for almost 50 minutes.
We really went off the deep end there.
It's fine.
But,
it's good.
That is one of the funniest things about us is both of us being like weird comedy bang bang dorks that like have these weird memories from listening to that. Because I don't know that I hear a lot of other people ever really bring it up. I've mentioned this already in the past, I think, on the podcast. That, like, culturally, like, people don't talk about it, but I think that there's a ton there, and we're not the only ones. It's a very popular thing, and there's a lot of people that were into it, and, like, it doesn't really get looked at. I mean, I listened to a podcast who did a series on, like, the history of cracked.com. But you don't see, like, an in-depth breakdown of the history of Comedy Bang Bang. But hey, feel free.
Single episode idea. I mean, maybe it's not a good idea.
That would be a big multi-parter, really.
Well, yeah. Or maybe just James Domian. Man,
God!
If we could scrounge up some cash, get him on the pod.
How much does he ask? I mean,
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I think he did. I think he does have like a going rate or something, maybe. But he's, as far as I know, he's like kind of disappeared from. Like he had his own podcast that was like a lot of characters, which I listened to for a while, but I kind of fell off of, and I think it kind of faded away as well. But anyway, we should get into this shit. We'll do a whole fucking episode on or with James Adomian in the future. Because now I'm getting hyped thinking about how much I love that fucking guy. All right. But instead of talking about fun, joyous, comedic stuff, our first topic, well, it doesn't have to be our first topic, but the first thing I see on our notes is under the banner of fuck this shit. You sent this to me. So, do you want to introduce this fuck this shit topic? I mean, I can do it, whatever. I can't hear you, man.
This is on mute. Jesus Christ. I'm so bad at this. Anyways, the first fuck this shit. Why you should retire? Okay, I forgot which one you even sent me. Why you should never retire. And this is from The Economist. Do you remember when The Economist was like serious business? I remember listening to like, talk radio at night, and they would be like, The Economist, like the magazine that's only for serious, real smart type book reading motherfuckers can understand and handle this magazine. You know what I'm talking about?
I think it still has that prestige, whatever, if it's deserved or not.
It's not. Everything is a house of cards when we really break it down. Anything that's being presented to you to purchase is a house of cards with a facade that's trying to trick you into thinking that it's something else. That's like the number one, like, conspiracy theorists are right, is basically what I just want everyone to understand. So anyways,
especially, the Netflix series, House of Cards.
Yes. That's the most important thing.
It's the biggest House of Cards of them all.
Oh, it's funny because I was going to mention this earlier when I said that like my brains were synapsing and picking up random things that didn't connect, but they did. Because it's like, this article opens up and it says, in an episode of The Sopranos, I was going to say, because I don't even remember exactly what the context was, but it was something from The Sopranos where Tony is at his shrink or whatever. And it's the opening bit that they put on this other podcast that's called Hate Watch, which Hate Watch is a very funny podcast. I would recommend people check it out. If you like Cumtown, but you're like smart enough to appreciate like how Cumtown did, like it was all satire, you know, kind of, and it was just like tongue in cheek. Like listen to Hate Watch and realize that like a lot of the worst bad faith responders being like, this is how you open the door to fascism, were like kind of right. Because Hate Watch is like Cumtown if they were actually racist. Like, you listen to it, and these are like actual right-wing racists. They're not like bigoted, I'm gonna join the KKK kind of guys, but they're like subtly stupid enough to be like, yeah, actually, I think the problem is the blacks. You know, they're like, when they're like, they're making the joke, they're like, no, you get, my point is like, they are like making the joke, and it's like, oh, isn't it so funny? Isn't it so funny to be like, they're all poor and it's sad, but then like at one point you're like, yeah, but it is kind of true that they make everything dirty and they're bad. You know, like, and it's just like, Jesus Christ. So I love listening to Hate Watch, but like, if you're not smart enough to not get indoctrinated by people just because they're like funny, and be like, oh yeah, these guys are also still really stupid and have bad politics, then check it out. But they open every show with a bit from The Sopranos where Tony is saying like, I think that it would be good to be like, to come in at the top, you know, and to be when things are going great. But sometimes I realize I think I came too late for that. In fact, I'm starting to think that the stuff is over. And then the shrink tells him like, I think a lot of Americans feel that way. And that's the, like when it opens up with the Sopranos, in an episode of The Sopranos, you know, and I think they're even referencing the same thing. He's like, you know, saying like, the economy's falling apart and we're all fucked. And so then the economist is like, yeah, it's true. And this show from the 90s, they got it right. Like, we're all fucked. You should not think that you're going to be able to, retire, because that golden age of getting to a certain age and not having to work anymore is not true. And you know what? It's fair enough to say, that's fucked up. We deserve better. We're such a mega power. We give so much money to Israel to kill brown people. We give so much money to Russia to kill other brownish people.
Ukraine.
Yeah, whatever. It's close enough.
We're taking loads from Russia, but anyway, sorry. Go on.
The thing where it's like we give money to Ukraine to kill Russian people. You're right. We have military men stationed all across the world in places that you don't even know that they're there. Why should I have to work into my 50s, 60s, and 70s? Why should I have to do all that when we have so much money to throw around? But our elites and our powered, they're doing the same damn thing. Because look at Joe Biden. And tell me that man is not of retirement age, but he's out there every day being president, working hard. He didn't retire. So why should you?
Yeah, we can all be the president and senile simultaneously.
He's just setting an example.
Hold hands
He's setting
and
an
walk
example.
into fucking the void
just
together.
clip through the wall. Tell me that that's not setting the example for the idea that there's no retirement when you have a senile old man in his 80s who's the fucking president of the United States. Is that not telling us? Is that not subtly telling you that you're going to work yourself until the grave? You're not going to get to retire? Even the president doesn't get to retire.
I mean, that guy, his handlers, they unstrap him from his waterproof sleeping vessel every morning at the crack of dawn. wipe the drool from his mouth. He's getting at it every day.
Yeah. They switch him over to his daytime pudding. He's got daytime, midday, and evening pudding.
His alarm clock is just like it just there's sound, but it also is just like a comically large syringe injecting him with his special vitamins for the day in his ass to get him up.
Yes. Yeah.
So Yeah, people are basically telling us. Now, you are laying out the subtext, of course, but the text, as I like to call it, is like, no, this is an ideology. This is a philosophy. This is ethics. This is how people should be. You shouldn't want to retire, even, is what they're saying. It's not even you can't retire. You shouldn't want to. But like you said, it's because you can't, or a lot of people can't. So yeah, there's this Economist article. We don't even really have to get into the meat of it. I mean, I think we just kind of laid out the whole issue essentially. But then I did find this other article with the same exact name. Article in scare quotes, because it's just like a LinkedIn essay or blog post, whatever.
Yeah.
By a guy named Martin Port, who gives me the dang howlin' fantods to look at. I couldn't resist throwing in some Infinite Jest reference there. But yeah, he's just like this.
Yeah, you
guy
call
who
him Martin Portley.
Martin Portley, founder and chairman at Big Change. Just something called Big Change. And
Big Change is what I call it when I get an erection. It goes from small to big change.
He declares he will never retire. But then, like, the caveat, well, at least not while I still have energy and drive. Well, that's the whole fucking point of retiring, right. Man.
Right.
But,
I'm not going to retire until I want to, and there's nothing you can do about it, is basically what he's saying. And he's not like our good friend, was it Brian Johnson?
Yeah, Brian Johnson. The immortal
Mr.
man.
Don't Die? Yeah.
Yeah.
That guy's never going to run out of energy.
No way, because as long as he doesn't run out of blood boys, he'll be good.
Quick fact check. Anyways, facts don't care. Oh, did you see that? Is that on the list? The Ben Shapiro thing?
Which one?
The Ben Shapiro rap song.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, I try not to
that's
do
old
stuff that
point.
Chapo does if I can help it. Yeah,
Sure.
I mean, it was hilarious. I mean, it was painful, and of course, but it was very, very funny. Covered well on a little known podcast.
We should give him a quick pluggerino.
That's CHAP.
I heard Amber on Red Scare, our sister podcast, Red Scare. That was interesting.
She had been on, like, I listened to her on that, like, way back when, but she was recently promoting her book or something.
Yeah, she was promoting her book. It's very night and day to listen to the way she is now. It's like she was always like vulgar and edgy, but she just feels so much more like, the stereotype. Once you've got money, you don't really care about this stuff as much. And it's just like I always like took her serious as actually being a socialist, but she really feels like she kind of like lost the grip on things because she's had money for too long. But yeah, referencing that, and this is, oh God, why am I even getting into this? Do you remember there was like a podcast that was like the Red Scare Roundup? It was like a couple of guys that were like reviewing the Red Scare podcast on another podcast. It was a very funny concept.
I think you've maybe told me about it.
I may have referenced it before. But those guys were like doing that, and it was funny to me because I was like, you guys don't even seem to know or care about this stuff as much as I do. And you're the ones who are like, I'm going to do a podcast about this. So I sent them the thing, because it was like, there was a proto episode of Red Scare that had Amber, Anna, and someone else who I can't remember now. And it was an episode of Come Town, I think. That
Virgil,
was like
Texas.
Sorry. Yeah. And it was like, I told them, I was like, okay, if you guys are like, looking for stuff or whatever, like check this out, because this is like what begat Red Scare. They did this thing, and then they like, oh, like this, there is something here. Let's make our own podcast. But yeah, like Amber was part of like the proto Red Scare thing.
Okay.
Anyways,
that rings a vague bell.
Yeah. So that might be what you were talking about. Also, she might have been on it before.
Yeah. I think she just came on it, but enough about those cum receptacle teal bucks. Art hose. Sorry, I can't help just massively trash talk them. I know you still like to listen. And maybe
I don't respect them. I just like listening to the show.
You listen just like pure like you realize like ideologically they fucking jumped the shark or whatever. Of course.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. I just
Okay.
I like listening.
I mean, I'm saying this. I guess I'm saying this more for like audience's sake, not my own. So anyway,
I listen to everything. That's the part that people really don't understand. I post like.
I mean, you just told me you
every
listened to the genuinely racist version of Cum Town. So yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I listen to everything. I post my thing every year that shows like my stats, and my stats are like fucking insane. Where it says like you listened to like 700 days worth of podcasts this year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like
I used
people
to look
do
at
not
those
understand
too.
what that means. Yeah. Like people do not understand what that really means. What that really means is that I listen to everything. Like at the end of the year, when it says that I've listened to like 12,000 days worth of podcasts, it means I am listening to everything. Yeah.
12,000 days in a year. Wow.
Yeah. In 1 year. No,
Working
because I listen at
overtime.
3 times speed. I listen at 3 times speed. Right? So think about that,
Oh, that's insane to me. 3? Did you tell me this
3.
before? I mean, you told
3.
me it was
I would
fast.
hit 4 if my phone
my
could handle
God.
it. I would do 4, but 3 is the max because phone technology cannot go above 3. It clips too much. But if it could do it, I would listen.
I don't think there's any chance we could ever like find out somehow that we're like secretly somehow like closely related, because my brain is so different from that. One point like anything past normal speed, like again I'll say it gives me the danged howlin' fantods. Makes my skin fucking crawl. But that's me. I mean, like I kind of wish that I could, because time is precious in God and
Right.
the Bible. So anyway, I was just thinking for a second there, maybe we should just talk about podcasts today, because that's pretty much all we've been doing.
No.
But we can try to hit up some of this other stuff, and if you don't mind going long, I don't mind going long today. I could maybe even split this into 2 episodes. That would be kind of funny. Like here's a bonus meta podcast preamble, and then try to like do some editing magic to make 2 episodes. So we'll see. So okay, leaving aside why you should never retire. I mean, like again, like we say a lot on the show, or at least I say, or I mean, it's accidentally become sort of the whatever, the ethos, guiding principle, whatever. Why am I trying to use big words? It's a part of the show. A thing in the show is that sometimes we just focus on a headline. That's why we trademarked such a thing as clickbait roulette once. And it's our bread and butter. So I'm just going to go out on a limb and say I think people should retire. and much earlier than the standard is these days, but
at least a couple weeks earlier. Yeah,
maybe Joe Brandon will make it happen, because he's a utopian Marxist-Leninist, as we know.
right. He says, "Empty the factories, Jack."
The far left loves Joe Biden. That was a headline once on this show that still cracks me up to remember. The far left loves Joe Biden. Okay. What's next? There's no real order to this. Should we go a la carte a little bit, maybe, or I don't know. What do you want to talk about? It's a whole. It's a menu. These aren't notes. This is like a menu, and now
let's talk about this. Oh, go ahead.
No,
we got color.
Ahead. I was going to say we've got collapsible. Notes now. It's a revolution.
Richard Hanania tweet. The the Joe Biden getting all fucking worked up. I didn't even realize and look at it that it was Richard Hanania, who's like, isn't he like, everyone know, like he's a racist who like wrote a Substack under like a pseudonym where he was extra racist. It was like, oh yes, by day I'm just a regular run-of-the-mill, like, kind of white nationalist adjacent podcaster, but by night, with my alter ego, I'm a full-blown white supremacist who that was Richard Hanania.
Fuentes adjacent or something?
Exactly.
I've never heard of this guy, I think.
It was a big deal when he got outed for being, like, having a Substack that was just, like, maybe they didn't gas enough Jews. But he posted this video of Joe Biden looking like as old as ever. Oh, we should play it.
Yeah,
looking as old as he looks, and then getting riled up and really hitting it. And you should, play the audio.
Okay. Damn, what the hell? Zoom bar's in the way. Oh, here we go. That's
Damn.
Easy fix.
Donald Trump, when he was commander-in-chief, refused to visit a cemetery, U.S. cemetery outside of Paris for fallen American soldiers. And he referred to those heroes, and I quote, as suckers and losers. He actually said that. He said that. How dare he say that?
He looks so insane.
How dare he talk about my son and all of us like that? Look, I call them patriots and heroes.
Looks like an angry rodent.
The only loser I see is Donald Trump.
Okay, it sounds like he said patriots and hoes.
Yes.
Did you hear that?
I did hear that.
Okay.
I did like that. Yeah.
I didn't notice that the first time until just now. So
they're patriots and hoes. But yeah, it was interesting to me the way that this was going around, and people were like, he was laying in wait. He's a snake in the grass. He's been pretending to be an old senile man, but as soon as he gets mad about his son dying, then he's gonna really show you. And it's like,
why would you pretend all of that shit?
Right.
I guess you could.
It's a rope-a-dope.
Some insane, like, convoluted conspiracy theory reason, but like, yeah, people are just desperate to believe all kinds of shit, and I don't blame them, although I do blame them. Half of this podcast is blaming them, but like, I blame them, don't blame them. Yeah.
The fucked up thing is that people don't believe this shit. Like, that's the saddest part about this, is that people do not believe this shit. They just, like, they're really just looking for their way out. Like, we were talking about earlier about, like, don't ever retire. Like, people are looking to, like, hit the take lottery and become a millionaire, you know? And they just want to, like, so just, if I could just hit the perfect fucking stupid ass take that goes viral enough, I could be a fucking millionaire and I don't have to, like, fucking deal with this shit anymore. That's, like, what they're really looking for. Because, like, yeah, like, the idea that he's been pretending to be senile so that they could get Donald Trump to be his opposition so that he can beat him again. Like, what good does that do anyone? Like, really? Like, yeah. And then, on top of it, you know, I hear the people who say, like, oh, because I did hear this take also, which was like, this is normal. This is how Biden is all the time. And the only stuff that you see is the stuff that goes viral that makes him look bad. But no one talks about when he just looks normal. Which I would almost be more willing to believe, if I'm being perfectly honest.
I mean,
that, like, what do you think?
Well, senile people get fucking angry because they're confused. So he's gotten angry publicly, like, before. I can think, like, when he was still campaigning, I'll never forget. It was, God, man, give me flashbacks to whatever, 2020, 2019, just hating everything. You know what? Perfect example of my version of the sort of like, kind of delusional, desperate shit was the Bernie campaigns, both of them. I was so locked in on that, like, this will somehow this will fix everything, even though I didn't really believe that, but I was kind of like, you know, acting like that anyway, you know what I mean. But no, during that time, he went to that like a I don't know, auto manufacturing plant or something, and he like stuck his finger in that dude's chest and was yet screaming at him. And all the guy, I forget, damn it, why did I bring this up if I can't remember the particulars? Does anyone else remember this? It was kind of
that's why you know what, we should be doing this live so we can get like the chat, because a lot of times the chat will know this, they can look it up, and instead of, that's the fun thing. We were talking about James Adomian earlier. The fun thing is like a lot of podcasts do this, like medium range podcasts. They like live stream and then they talk about stuff, and then they'll be like, oh, the chat knows. Yeah, the chat knows. Yeah. The chat for sure, they know. And then they'll be like, yeah, see, they just said it. And it's like, instead of having Jamie look this up like Joe Rogan does, they just have the chat. So you have like people who are doing unpaid labor, like, oh yeah, cool, yeah, the chat does it, instead of like having a producer who looks this stuff up and does research for you live. You have like sycophants who do it for you for free. Anyways, chat, look this up. Look up what Josh is talking about here.
Yeah, I completely lost what the issue was, but basically it was like a guy asked a very like politely, even I would say, asked a question to the man, and Biden like lost his shit and was like, I think he said the word shit. He was like cussing at this guy, and I was like, and it was still just, and this was when he was being like super propped up by the party at this point. So anyway, it was just infuriating, like so much of that time was. Not anymore, though. Everything's pretty easy going now. So yeah, Biden got mad about his. It's you know what it is? It's because he can't even help himself. He has to throw in the fact that his fucking dead son is part of this somehow. It's like, did Bo liberate Paris? Like, what the fuck you talking about, man? Like, I mean, I get it. It's his kid. I'm honestly not even trying to be flippant about that part, but like, he brings it up all the time. My point is that Biden only cares about shit when it affects him personally. He's not screaming about 30,000 fucking Gazan children buried under rubble or whatever the fuck the number is at this point. And that's what makes me mad. Now I'm getting pissed off. So, conclusion: fuck Joe Biden.
I agree. Fuck Joe Biden. All right, what do we got? What else is good? International geopolitics. Oh, Argentina's new president, Javier Milei, a far right leader. The answer is not simple. What?
This article sucks. Basically, the reason I put this here is the article sucks. Okay.
This is a bad article. So
it's incredibly simple. This guy is and oh, damn it. Here's a technical problem, and maybe you can just help me out with this. I've got keyboard issues, which I did bring up briefly on the last episode, and I basically just can't use my keyboard right now because if I want to use a microphone or a mouse, and the mouse is more important.
That feels.
But
wrong.
I was gonna say, when we brought this guy up before, I thought for sure he was opposed to abortion. Doesn't that sound right that he would be? I mean, I guess maybe not if he's a libertarian.
No, he's libertarian.
Yeah, but I swear that was part of it, and maybe
libertarians are like, you can get borscht up. It's
but okay. Then some of them aren't, like, like there's the
Tradcath libertarians. Tradcath libertarians? Are you inventing a guy?
I'm saying that there's like some people's, like, you scratch a libertarian and you find just like an authoritarian right winger underneath. Like, they don't believe in liberty in the fucking least. And I think that's where this guy falls on the spectrum. But this article claims at least that the progressive stances he has are legalized abortion and gay rights, which I remember like reporting on this podcast that he was not in favor of those types of things. Maybe not the gay thing, but anyway, I'm making too big of a deal about this small point, but
let's get back into it. All right. No, I mean both those things go hand in hand, man. That's like libertarian bullshit. Like you're allowed to do whatever, right? Like that's the thing. It's like you can be gay, get pregnant, whatever, kill your baby. We don't care. But what it comes down to is they're not gonna like support you through any of it. So I think that a lot of people kind of like made hay off of presenting him as like a fascist, where he's just a libertarian. He's a weird libertarian freak.
Well, he actually like the descriptor that comes up actually more often with him is anarcho-capitalist, which I know that could easily be both. You can be both things, but
it just means the same thing, really.
I guess it pretty much does. Yeah. I'm like now desperately trying to figure out if I'm right about this abortion thing. It's going to drive me crazy. Almost there. Come on, badly working keyboard.
What? The keyboard thing I don't understand. The other part of it, whatever.
I'll explain it to you when you're older because it's very boring. Okay.
When I'm Joe Biden's age and I'm president of the United States.
Exactly.
All right, let's check this out.
No. See, I knew I was fucking right. I knew I was right. God damn it.
Oh, okay.
He wants to repeal legalized abortion, which didn't happen until 2020 in Argentina. He wants to fucking he describes social justice as an aberration, which means to me that's like code for I don't be liking them gays. I could be a little wrong about that, but no, he wants to ban abortion. We talked like I said this on the podcast before because I was reading it from a reputable article. Okay. So here's the other thing. This article that sucks is not very reputable. It's actually like it's not from a website where like anybody can post a fucking article like a Medium, but it's like a different one. I forget the name of it, but anyway, there's like not much to say about that. So
you set me up. You set me up to read a fake article with bad information so that you could correct me.
No.
And had a busted keyboard the whole time?
I just wanted to say that.
I just called to say I love you.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
All right, let's talk about the Dilbert cartoonist, Adam Scott. According to the article, Adam Scott, the creator of Dilbert comic strip, posted a tweet attributing society's problems to women's pursuit of additional sperm? That can't be right. And there's a very funny cartoon at the top of this article. This is from Boing Boing. You sent me this, and you were like, this is peak AI. Adams believes issues like wealth, inequality, climate change, and political division actually stem from a dysfunctional mating system. When mating systems fail, we claim men because dangerous. And what? Claims men become dangerous and women become batshit crazy. That's what he's saying. So when the mating system falls apart, men get dangerous and women get crazy. So he's saying, yeah, go ahead.
Well, I just want to describe this image because it's so great, and it also kind of. I mean, it literally illustrates like basically what Dilbert man is trying to say here. I also like say that I know that Scott Adams is very low hanging fruit. Hey, title of a James Adomian stand up album, by the way. Easy to rip on Scott Adams, of course, but like. The combination of this AI generated image that they made for this article, which is like looks like a giant pool / kind of like water fountain filled with what maybe if you didn't see the article title, you'd be like, oh, these ladies are all like wrestling in a bunch of milk. But no, it's semen. It's just like an ocean of semen and an ocean of women all like fighting each other to get buckets of it, and it's it's amusing to me. And that's basically how Scott Adams sees what he sees as the source of all of our social ills, because he's a certified brain genius. He says, we think we're divided by race and politics.
I call it politricks.
Politricks. Repulsicans and dema asshats, if you ask me.
That's it. That is true. True facts stated.
All right, here's another good quote, and maybe we could just move past this dumbass. He says, this failure to I don't know, calibrate the mating system, whatever the fuck he even means by all that. He also connects it to open borders, and diversity. What does DEI stand for? I keep forgetting. Diversity, equity, inclusion.
Yeah, and equity. Diversity, inclusion, equity. But DIE is not. DIE is how like the right wingers say it, so that they can call it die. DEI is how normal people say it, and it's diversity, equity, inclusion. They make it die.
Good
die.
one.
So it's like, oh, when you do this, it makes your company die.
Okay, I'll read a little bit more from the article here. He says, this failed mating system has turned Democrats into the woman party and Republicans into the man party. Well, with verbal skills like that, you know this guy's onto something. Democrat men are, quote, pleasers, aligning with single women to boost their mating prospects. Conversely, Republican women tend to support their defenders, quote, which is also a good mating strategy. Then this article takes a cheap shot at him. It says Adams' viewpoint is based on pure logic, of course, and unrelated to his own, and then hyperlinked, unsuccessful marriage history. Ooh.
Damn.
He tweeted, every male encounter is implied violence. Oh, man. Are we implying violence right now? It's the principle behind law enforcement, the military, and all social conduct. No one takes that off the table. Try to deal with the reality, please. No one supports dumb violence. Everyone supports smart violence. This guy's like a fucking Zen koan, like fucking wisdom machine, just cranking them out. Just put the nickel in, turn the key. And then someone with a Ukraine Avi, whatever that means, just basically kind of calls bullshit on this. And okay, actually, I'll just read what he says. He quotes, every male encounter is implied violence. Response, this is someone named Chad Crichton, let's say grandson of Michael Crichton. Look, I don't even like my dad all that much, but I can assure you that there's not any implication of violence every time I encounter him. Not on my part, anyway. I suppose he could live in a constant state of resisting the urge to punch me. Adams replies, oh, there is. Stick your fingers in his ass without permission and see how it goes. Why? How?
I'm not doing that.
In what reality, through what stream of logic do you jump to that? It's pretty wild. Scott Adams, crazy. Real ass dude of the week, Scott Adams.
Yes.
Okay. Enough of that shit, at least on my part, unless you have any final comments on the Dilbert man.
Fuck that. No. I like him. He's funny.
he's no one can
funny.
Argue that. Let's get into electoral politics. Everyone's favorite subject.
People love that.
and we'll start with a more fun one, I guess, and then go downhill from there. After years of beef, Snoop Dogg now says this is why he has, quote, nothing but love and respect for Donald Trump.
I get that. I really do.
I mean, it seems surprising given that, like, for some reason, we've talked about Snoop Dogg several times on the podcast.
Why would we not?
True. Always relevant figure, Snoop Doggity Dog.
He's got a powerful brain.
But what I remember us basically saying was like he's like a walking brand, and part of that brand, I assumed for a long time until this article was like he's basically center left, I guess, maybe if anything, or that's like his people, right? His audience. The MAGA crowd is not like flocking to Snoop Dogg shows, as far as I know. Maybe they are. I don't know. The fuck do I know? I feel like I don't know why. I feel like you would know more.
The MAGA crowd loves Snoop Dogg.
Really?
The MAGA crowd. Yes. The MAGA crowd. This is something I've talked about on the other podcast.
Even the actually racist ones.
Yes,
okay.
They do. This is something I talked about on the other podcast because Quentin is like into rap. The other thing he does, like I do this, like we do a wrestling podcast together. I do this. He does battle rap coverage. Like he is deep into like rap culture shit. He makes rap music. His stuff is good. I would definitely recommend people check it out.
Oh, cool. General recommendation.
QT Moody. I have to check what his Spotify is, but he doesn't release a lot of music. He makes a lot of good music, but either way. And we had a conversation about the fact that like Snoop Dogg sucks shit as a rapper. Most of his music is bad. He's got like maybe 1 or 2 good albums. Primarily his best stuff is like features, you know? Like if you give him credit for how good The Chronic was, and even like The Chronic 2001, like okay, sure, he's got something there, but he's not
he's
good
second
rapper.
Fiddle, but anyway, yeah.
Yeah, you get my point. Like his best stuff is him being second fiddle, feature, whatever, and
then his first record.
Yeah. Doggy Style is fine. The Dog Pound Connection Gang stuff is good. Like whatever. But the thing about Snoop Dogg is that none of that matters because of his cultural brand, and the people who love that shit are corny ass white people. And MAGA is corny-ass white people. And they love Snoop Dogg.
But corny-ass white people span the whole political spectrum.
Right. For sure. But
so that's
MAGA
why
people are corny-ass white people. And corny-ass white people like Snoop Dogg. So
it's really...
it's a square versus rectangle thing.
I just got a fucking tingle down my spine. Snoop Dogg VP choice, bringing the whole fucking country together.
Holy shit, dude! If he could pull that off,
He's black.
Yeah.
He's famous. He
right
across the political spectrum. Apparently, everybody loves him.
Yeah. Yep.
Him.
Oh yeah.
Him
I mean, the people who vote
with Trump would be fucking hilarious every time.
Yeah. No, that would be the perfect pick. If Trump could get Snoop Dogg to commit to it, it would be perfect.
That would be amazing. I mean, I'm going for a laugh, but I'm also deadly serious. That's like it's like all I can ask for politics wise with any sense of like realism at this point is like for shit like that, and for like Barack Hussein Obama care Mandela to become the new Nancy Pelosi. Like I just want shit to go fucking nuts in a funny way, because it's already insane and only sometimes in a funny way. But digress. I think you were saying something, but you were muted. Maybe not.
No.
Okay.
No. I was not.
So yeah, I didn't see any reactions to that article. Maybe I should have, but whatever. I think we got enough juice out of that for now. Maybe we'll have a weekly Snoop Corner update maybe. Or whatever. Okay, this one I don't even want to talk about the substance of, but just something that I saw. Anyway, it will make sense once I start speaking about the thing. Donald Trump must pay an additional $83.3 million to E. Jean Carroll in defamation case. Jury says, okay, is that what? I mean, okay, like I honestly I haven't followed anything about the case. I'll just assume Donald Trump was bad, did something really wrong, and that this is justice. However, the way I found out about this news was by like maybe once a week I accidentally see a few things on Facebook because it's like the only place I kind of communicate with my parents usually. And saw somebody on there, they just, their whole Facebook post was just $83.3 million, period. Like it was this profound thing. And I was like, what the fuck is, like, that caught my eye. I was like, why, what is this? It's clickbait essentially. And then I realized, oh, okay, they're referring to this thing. And it was actually one of my old, like, college professors that I really liked, by the way. So I'm not trying to trash talk him, but like I guess he's a classic, typical orange man bad hashtag resistance guy, I think, from what I can tell. And I don't know, what was my I feel like I had a larger point about this and I'm fucking losing the thread here. It's basically like people are just so focused on the wrong shit. it's really all I'm say.
That's the whole point. That's why you like, scream into a fucking brick wall constantly.
Yeah. Because as our dear friend and future guest Sarah Hightower says, screaming into the void.
Yes.
Mental associations going off left and right.
please. Yeah, because it's just like, how do you not? How do you?
I know.
Like, but there's so many people where I just like lose my fucking mind because it's like
these are the same people that I almost guarantee if I went back in that guy who, again, nice guy, awesome film studies guy at my school, very nice fellow. Not trying to drag him. I just happened to see through him. I went through his, like, him or anyone like who's excited about this Trump having to pay some money out. You go back to like the Russiagate times, they were probably foaming at the mouth, talking about the Steele dossier, etc. Like retweeting fucking pictures of what's his fucking name? I can't even remember now. The guy who's investigating in Mueller.
Yeah, Mueller report.
Mueller.
Yeah.
Mueller. I've done this on the show before, I think, with you.
Mueller. Right. And I talked about the many times that I fucking met Ben Stein.
Really?
Yes. On the podcast. I think maybe.
Met? Spoke to?
Yeah. I worked at a grocery store in La Quinta. It's the high-end part of Palm Springs.
This feels like news to me. Anyway.
People know what Palm Springs is if they're old. Younger people will just know Coachella Fest, right? It's out there.
I think of the Andy Samberg Groundhog Day movie ripoff that I saw somewhat recently on an airplane, I believe. I said the word airplane.
Ben Stiller would come into.
Okay, sorry.
Ben Stiller was a regular at the grocery store that I worked at in La Quinta, and one of the major things that I always remember about not Ben Stiller, Ben Stein, was that, and I absolutely boiled with rage every time I saw him, and I would. One time, I actually did say to him, I was like, "Man, you've got to be pretty good, because you were able to write speeches that made people think that Richard Nixon was charismatic."
I mean,
that's fair. That's a fair thing to say to that guy. You must be pretty talented.
If you have to reach for a compliment, kudos to you for coming up with that. I would have been. Well, all I was thinking just now, if I talked to him, it would have been like, it's really fucking dangerous of you to talk about how evolutionary theory is in lockstep with Nazism. You fucking moron.
Yeah. But one of my favorite things that he would always say is that he would walk through the store and he'd be shopping, and people would be like, "Oh, Ben Stiller, I remember I used to see you on TV."
He said it again, but I'll let it slide.
Ben Stein. He would say, people would come up to him, they'd just be like, "Oh, I remember I used to see you on TV." And he would say, "I'm on TV every day."
Jesus.
And that was his reaction. People would be like, "Oh, I used to love seeing you on TV," and he'd be like, "I'm on TV every day."
So he's mad that they're past tensing him.
Yeah.
What a
that was his
little
thing.
whiny bitch. And also, is he?
Maybe not.
Maybe reruns of Ferris Bueller.
Sure, but the crazy, that was the crazy thing about him is just how much of a weird little baby man he was. Where I'm just like, dude, you were a DC politics leader of the world, one, the heartbeat of the presidency, level guy. You care more about people watching you on TV than the fact that you were he cares more about people being like, "Oh, I used to see you on TV," than you do when I told you you wrote the fucking the words that were coming out of the president's mouth. He doesn't care about that.
I don't think he's proud of, or I don't think he's publicly proud of that, or has
right.
Couldn't have been his whole persona for a while until we all found out. I'll just say, until I found out that he's actually this reactionary piece of shit. Was he's the Bueller guy. He had the game show on Comedy Central. And then he did a bunch of fucking commercials with the same persona, and that was basically it, right? And then,
yeah.
But during the game show days, for example, I don't think he would have been saying in interviews "Oh, I'm so proud of the work I did for Nixon." Right. I'm a I think he didn't feel safe to come out as a conservative so hard until Bush came into office, basically. But in the 90s, I don't think he was
even then,
and also, I know you weren't asking him this in the 90s, so I'm assuming that you, but anyway, how did we get there? Oh, Mueller.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know how it's pronounced, but whatever. The fucking
Mueller.
the Frankenstein man who everyone was who all the libs were hero worshipping back in those days, because they thought this is gonna finally be the thing that takes down, Tangerine Mussolini, and it so wasn't. he said it loud and clear. I failed. There was Trump was actually correct to celebrate that moment. But it's fun. It's wild to me that there's still people I don't think it's too many, but they're still there. This whole Ukraine stance basically is essentially a socially acceptable way to keep Russiagate vibes going without looking like a total conspiracy nut. or at least I think that's the thinking. But
we're trying like hell.
Yeah. I literally forgot where we started from to get to all of that.
Who cares?
Snoop Dogg.
Planes behaving badly. Everyone ready? Planes. Hit one. We should hit one planes behaving badly and close it out for the evening.
Okay. I just want to quickly shout out the Robert F. Kennedy thing, because bringing it up later will be totally pointless. This motherfucker's on his third political party of this election season, or he's considering it, and apparently the Libertarian Party has I think said they want nothing to do with him, but he's basically trying to pivot to the Libertarian Party now. So he was a Democrat. I basically wrote this in the Discord, I think, at some point. But running as a Democrat, but like an outsider Democrat, gonna shake things up. Then he went independent. Now he's trying to pivot to Libertarian for some reason. And in my imagination, I just saw this like continuing like in that direction of just going to like full blown National Socialism, as in the Nazi style. It's a real shame, and it's confused so many idiots that the word socialism is in that political party name. But anyway, that's
continue. Everyone who's listening to this knows why it says socialism in there.
Yeah, I would assume so. Planes. Actually, fuck planes. We'll listen to one more video and then we'll get out of here. We got to hear this. Zionist girl at city council meeting. She says a real oopsie doopsie thing, and I'm gonna play it for us, and then we can go. Okay, here we go.
It's all good. All right, ready?
Yeah.
To be followed by number 9, Max Abrahams, and number 10, Ashley Smith. Josephina?
Yeah.
Welcome. Hi, I'm Josephina Light, and I'm a first year at the University of Vermont. And before I speak on this resolution at hand, I want to acknowledge the pain and sorrow on both sides of this war. Israelis murdered, raped, and kidnapped, and so many innocent Palestinians lost. But I'd also like to point out how disingenuous it seems that Burlington City Council is sitting here thousands of miles away from this issue and allowing it to divert their time from issues affecting their citizens' safety and civic needs. There are issues right outside that door that need your attention. This resolution will bring no benefits to the Burlington City. Stick to championing for the people of Burlington. Stay away from matters outside your jurisdiction. This resolution will not bring peace. It will bring division into the city. If you vote yes to this resolution, you are knowingly causing tensions to rise in the city. Don't fall for buzzwords, listen to facts, and focus on healing Burlington. And I would like to use the rest of my time to say how appalled I am that people are bringing up the Holocaust. Do not use other genocides to describe this one. I have been...
We're not going to tolerate that.
This one that I personally do not see.
All right, that's it. We can cut it there.
Horrible situation, and I cry for my...
Yeah, that's it. I mean, it's pretty funny. Come on. I mean, I don't know. It's just like...
Yeah. I did really appreciate it, and then the crowd reaction almost made the whole thing.
There's stuff to talk about with the crowd visually as well. Okay, I watched a little bit more of the video with other people giving their fucking testimonies, and there's a particular guy who's right behind, like you can see him like kind of behind and next to whoever's speaking at the time, and he's got the yarmulke on. He's he's telegraphing who he is, let's say, and he's got a bunch of like signs, like handmade like signs that he made that he keeps holding up throughout, because like I guess, you know, in these local city council whatever meetings, you know, you're supposed to like not cheer or boo. So it also, we did see him do the little finger whatever, instead of applause you fucking wiggle your fucking fingers and look like a moron. He did that when she was like going off righteously about not this genocide, the other genocide,
the good one.
And anyway, and he's just like, he's just beaming the whole time. He's really like proud of all these Zionists speaking their piece. So yeah, I guess but I guess it's for context. This whole thing was Burlington, Vermont. They're trying to make some resolution for, I believe it was like to officially support a ceasefire of, you know, one of the most dastardly, fucking evil, anti-Semitic things you could possibly do in this world.
Yes.
And then to end on, I guess, what we could call a piece of nice news, even though it is unfortunately somewhat meaningless. Chicago is the largest city in America to pass a similar city council resolution for a ceasefire.
Okay.
And there's a video of it, and people are fucking going off, losing their minds. Almost to the point where it made me sad. See, I can't let fucking a good story be. Just, whatever. Yeah, whatever is a good word to end on. Before we hop into the Gen Rex, of which I have, I think, 2, 3.
Okay.
I have an anti-recommendation as well. If you want to go first, that's cool.
I don't really have any.
Then I should go.
Violent
And
people.
maybe I'll spark a memory for you.
Maybe.
Oh yeah, the Clinton's thing.
Or the new website. Yeah. Oh yes.
No, his music.
I should look it up. Yeah.
So we'll put that in the show notes. Oh yeah, what's all right, I'll go and then see what you want to call plugs and what you want to call general recommendations. They're very different animals, very different beasts we're working with here.
You know? Yeah.
Okay. I will recommend a book. Sorry.
Oh, ooh, hiss. Reading is gay, and everyone who reads is gay.
Gay me up. So, and again, like I've mentioned in the past, I've been doing a lot of audiobook listening these days, something I never thought I would do. I used to be a real kind of like, I don't know, purist snob about that kind of shit when I read more. But anyway, it's convenient and whatever. It works. It gets the information into your head in a slightly different way. I recommend the Hermann Hesse book, Siddhartha, which is quite famous. The German man writing about an Indian man who basically tells the Buddha to fuck off at one point. Spoiler alerts. Now it's a very cool book. I for weird context, I guess, I woke up at like 2:30 in the morning on a night that I had to go to work quite early in the morning, and was having a real difficult insomnia moment. And I was like listening to various things, white noise, all kinds of shit. And somehow I landed on Siddhartha audiobook. And it was kind of it's a great book. I'd read it a long, long time ago and liked it a lot then. But let's say I was having a classic dark night of the soul in my mind for several hours, which was accompanied by this story of a guy who is grappling with the meaninglessness of life, essentially, to really be reductive about it. But it's a great book. It's like this character, and it's very short as well. I know that can be a big selling point for people sometimes. It's short, but it also like goes through like an entire sort of lifespan of this guy. He starts off rich and like doing his religious rites, gives up everything, becomes totally like ascetic, sleeps out in the forest. I don't need to recount the whole thing. It's a good book. Check it out. You don't have to have any interest in Buddhism, I think, either to like it. But Siddhartha. And then, speaking of Dark Night of the Soul, here's a sweaty transition. That was the title of, I believe, the final album from a band called Sparkle Horse, which is basically one guy named Mark Linkous, who was a very sensitive, depressed guy who ended up shooting himself in the chest to death. And he made a beautiful album that I've loved nigh on 25 years or something now, called It's a Wonderful Life. I always wondered how ironic or not he was being with that title. He seemed like a pretty sincere guy. I don't know. Anyway, that's a great piece of music to check out if you like kind of somewhat bummer but beautiful music. And finally, this is more of a PSA and an anti-recommendation. There's a company called Payoneer Global Inc. and fuck them to death. They have stolen the small amount of Patreon money that Jason and I raised over the course of like a couple years, that I tried to. When Jason basically left the podcast, I was like, I'll cash out what we have and split it with you. When I did that, I thought it was supposed to go directly to my bank account. It apparently went to something called Payoneer. And for like months now, since last summer, I've been like going back and forth in emails, etc., with this awful company. And I've only recently found out that they're doing this shit to everybody. If you go to subreddit Payoneer, you can see what I'm talking about. They are just stealing people's money left and right. They will not respond to your questions basically, and then like cancel your account, and then your money's gone. And there's like no legal recourse apparently. I mean, I don't know. What do I call the fucking SEC? The Better Business Bureau? I don't know. Anyway, it was really frustrating dealing with them. And so I want to say, stay away from them. And possible parody, burn down all of their physical offices or hack their databases and Robinhood style distribute the money to the rightful owners. All right. What about you? Anything?
I couldn't find Quentin's music, but I will link you to it later. The other thing is, Violent People feels like a plug, but it's not. I just do my podcast, and it's kind of on the network or whatever, but the real thing is like checking out.
I mean, you can like two birds, one stone this bitch.
Sure. Basically,
so Violent People is the new podcast network, right?
Yeah. It's a website, violentpeople.co.
Okay.
And that's like the website that all of this stuff is happening. The main thing I would recommend people check out is like articles by Dan Rice, Dan R, I think on there. Amazing writer, a guy who like I'm just friends with, but have started to realize he's like a really talented writer. So I would definitely recommend people check it out. That's the main thing. The other main thing is that I like. Anyway, we will move on from here. There might be other links for other stuff in the notes, but that's it. Just check out Violent People.
So like, how does this affect your podcast though? Do you actually have to make a podcast name now, or is the We Don't Know Wrestling Network like non-existent now?
Yes. So now the podcast that I do is Q&TR.
Q ampersand TR.
That's what I want it to be, but I think it's like Q and T. I don't know. I have to look that up. Which I can do very easy. But I can give you the Spotify account to look for, which is Spody Dolo. So I would definitely recommend that people check out. This is my general recommendation. Spody Dolo. Great music. As a rapper, as a producer, as a person, very talented. Highly recommend. Verified artist on Spotify. Nearly 500 monthly listens, Check out Spody Dolo. I'll send you the link. But yeah. I'm just like, I'm annoyed now. I'm like, I have to look up, what is it? It's QNTR. Our name says Q ampersand TR. I would rather it be a little bit different than it is, but if you search for QANDTARE, right?
ARE, okay.
Yeah. I don't like it. I'm not a fan of this. I want it to be Q ampersand T letter R, right?
Just do it.
I want. Yeah. I don't have full control of this stuff,
I mean,
anyway.
Okay.
This is part of the whole thing. This is, Josh, this is why you don't work well with networks. Anyways.
the networked podcaster's burden. You gotta, it's the fucking cross you carry.
Deal with this shit. Anyways, Spody Dolo, check that out. ViolentPeople.co, check it out. If you go to Violent People through me, make sure that you tell them fuck Tanner. Like, that's just part of it. Just, if you ride for me, you say fuck Tanner. That's it.
Okay.
Moving forward, that's all. Been still watching Fargo. I like it. Season 3.
That's is that the Ewan McGregor one?
Yeah, with the twins.
It's a good one. And what's her face? I fucking love her. Mary Elizabeth.
I don't know her name, but
Winstead, I think.
Yeah, Mary Winstead.
She's really good.
In there. Yeah.
She did her own.
But I didn't mention. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, last week I talked with Jason. I mentioned like how there's so many John Wick ripoff movies, and she did one that was actually
nice.
I liked it a lot. It was like, I think it was like a straight to Netflix thing. I think it was poorly named, maybe is why it didn't like get very popular. I think it's just called Kate because that's her name.
Oh,
with a K.
Right.
Woody Harrelson in that, I think, playing a bad guy. He's a pretty good bad guy. I think I just added another recommendation. All right, guys.
Woody Harrelson.
You got to check out the show notes if you want to find all this stuff, because I do link it there. A link to other things like our website, eatdeathpod.com. Twitter, etc. The Discord. The Discord is the one I should always say first, and I never remember to say it first. Number one, go to the Discord and talk. Tell us stuff. I'd prefer it's nice stuff, but it doesn't have to be. Or it doesn't even have to be about the fucking podcast. We'll shoot the shit about whatever.
How's life?
Yeah.
Have you ever gone down on a man or a woman? What's it like? We can talk about it.
Everybody vote in the comments. All right. I think wondering if we've gone down on people is a good place to call it quits. Yeah. Oh, no, it's not, because I'm still on this right in.
Oh, yeah.
Insane candidate for Nancy Pelosi's Senate seat, Barack Obama Mandela, on March 5th, if you're a resident of California. And even if you're not, I'll say, just be safe.
No one's going to stop you. It's not illegal.
Yeah, like I said, I'm going to write his name on a piece of paper and put it in the mailbox or something here in Korea. All right. Bye. God damn.
The first voice recording was made in 1860. It was a 10-second fragment of the French folk song Au clair de la lune recorded by inventor Edward Leon Scott de Martinville. But who will make the final voice recording and when? What will it be? Who will hear it?